Welcome back to the Forensic Detailing channel, guys. I thought I'd just mic up and do an update. I'm about halfway through my ceramic shampoo testing. I've just tested something that I'm calling something like user experience or something like that. Where basically I just dose these out according to the manufacturer's instructions in a bucket and use them on the car. And just sort of, rather than look too much at performance, just look really at your user experience and whether you're happy with that. And obviously product performance comes into that user experience. Now I've got to go and test these ones. I'll do that on another day. Rain is interrupted, and I've used most of those over there as well. So where I'm going with this is I'm a little bit disappointed with these ceramic shampoos, because historically with normal car wash shampoos, you put them in your bucket, don't you? You foam them all up, and you get this dense soap, and that foam, you know, you rub it all over your car, you get your brush and prod it. It cleans well, you know, it's slick, it's slidey. You know, and you wash off and you've got a really clean car. They rinse off as well, they're free rinsing. Now the first thing is these ceramic shampoos, the foaming levels on them are poor. You know, they're poor. Now some of the brands say low foaming, fair enough. But none of them say no foaming. What happens with some of them is you put them in there, and I foam them up a little bit. I've been foaming them up with the jet stream on my hose because I'm just doing a bucket wash, and that can produce quite a lot of foam, but then you hear it pop and it disappears. Some of them are gone within 60 seconds. By the time you got the bucket to the car, you've got a bucket full of water. That's what it feels like. It's not, it's still, the chemical's still in there. But yeah, the foaming is the first thing that I want to get across, is generally really disappointing. How do I go about marking that as a user experience if the brands say that it's low foaming? Well, I know about the technical constraints, you know, but I want a car shampoo. I just sort of been thinking about this, and my bottom line is it's good for me if a car shampoo is nice and soapy and glidey, and I know it doesn't make any difference to lubrication, but it's part of that user experience. And then when you use a ceramic shampoo for the first time, perhaps the expectation is that that user experience is going to be enhanced and better than a normal shampoo. So for Joe Bloggs, you know, that's not massively into all of this detailing stuff like I am, maybe that expectation is realistic, so I'm putting that in there. So very disappointed with the user experience. Also, very disappointed on the whole, there's a caveat there, clever people will pick up on that caveat, very disappointed on the whole with the protective, hydrophobicity is the word of these products. Again, with a ceramic shampoo, when you use it, your user experience after you've washed with it, hopefully would be that your car would be pinging off the water and feeling really slick and electric and hydrophobic and beady. And I'm not getting that user experience with the vast majority of these products, and neither am I going to get the experience with, because I've already done I've got panel tests going, so I know how hydrophobic they all are, but I get another glimpse when I do this user experience testing and I put them out on the car. No, there's going to be two that do okay on that front. The rest of them are going to be below average, or maybe even up to average on how they kind of repel water. And this leads me to a really interesting point, is it's all to do with concentration. And I'm coming to the opinion that the dosage, and I think I knew this already, but I don't sit here thinking about these sorts of things at night, but the dosage requirements or information or instructions from these brands are generally too conservative and too low. I don't think you've got any chance of getting one of these to work at like a 1:500 ratio. And a few of them are up at that ratio, which is very concentrated. I think typically a company like Bilt Hamber always try to get things really concentrated, don't they? They're using their product, or you have to use their product at an average of around 122 to 1 to 222. If you dose it up to their maximum, you'll get that maybe closer to 1 to 300 or 1 to 333 or whatever it is. And I'm just starting to see that around that sort of ratio, you're starting to get the performance appearing with some of the other products as well, like the Armour, which uses a similar dosage. All the ones that are higher, so little chemical. You imagine you've got 15 litres of water and you're putting in, like, let's say with the Gtechniq, you're putting in 30 mil for that 15 litres, 20 mil for 10 litres. That ratio is so tiny. It's such a small little amount of chemical in their cap compared to this massive bucket of water. It's not enough. And then you go to the turtle wax, where you put in nearly 1/4 of a litre, just under 1/4 of a litre of product. That's nearly half a bottle if it was a 500 ml bottle into the bucket. But that turtle wax is a bit of an oddball because, well, you do get a bit more performance with it. But anyway, I'll save all that for the end. But very disappointed. So I'm trying to sort of like figure out scoring on this. And me being disappointed is okay, as long as I'm disappointed consistently. And I score lowly on user experience. Someone else might subjectively score higher generally on user experience. It doesn't matter as long as I'm consistent. And I've sort of thought, if 5 is an average user experience that you're satisfied with, well then definitely some of these products are well lower than that, because your average bucket of shampoo might give me a 6 or 7 if it's reasonably thick and it cleans okay and it's not too expensive. I'm happy with it. Whereas these, if the foam's gone by the time I get to the car and it's a bucket of water, and it's not really making the car repel water that much after washing with it, then just quite simply, you're disappointed. So state that, rank it, and then be consistent for all your products and think, right, I was dreadfully disappointed with that one. That one was awful. That one's like way below average. That's like a 2 out of 10. It's terrible. Then if any get lower than that, you know, that's like a 1. Or you could recalibrate and say, well, 1's too harsh, because 1, you'd literally throw it away, wouldn't you? But anyway, you get the idea. One of them didn't do anything. Put it on there, it just didn't do anything. And it's all because of dosage. Yeah, so not very impressed with these ceramic shampoos. And the way it's going, it's very dangerous to say this, but there's a front runner, and there's about 3 or 4 other ones that are, yeah, maybe still in contention. And then there's just a load of them that are just rubbish and have just ruled themselves out already. This isn't even in the scoring. This is just in my head. The scoring you can go through and add up all the scoring, and it can come out crazy, and you can think, well, that one's rubbish, and it's come out above. So you've got to be careful with how you do your scoring. But yeah, very difficult, very disappointing this. Generally not a fan of this genre of product as well, which puts me on a bit of a downer with it, rather than the sort of like, you know, excited dog that's happy to see the results. I've used these ceramic shampoos before, and I'm always, yeah, okay. But I think I've said in other videos as well, I think, you know, you get more bang for your buck, don't you, if you're putting that protection on properly. I can see the advantages of these, but they just need to be more powerful. I think, from what I can see as well, with all my data, that if you look at the cost per wash with these products, they're roughly, you know, around about £1, roughly, lots of them, or most of them are over, you know, let's say £1 to £1.50 cost per wash. And when we looked at normal shampoos, they were around sort of 25 to 30p per average cost per wash. So let's just say these are about 3 to 4 times the cost per wash of a normal shampoo, okay? I think, are the brands under pressure? Sorry, I'm just scratching my arse. Are the brands under pressure to get the cost per washes down, get the chemical cost down? I don't know. Maybe not, because they haven't really, have they? That was a bit of a stupid question, John. I don't know. I don't know what's going on with these ceramic washes. But for me, I don't know. Just not feeling it. Yeah. And I mean, it's not because of the lineup. I couldn't pick you know, I couldn't pick 11 more brands that I kind of like. You know, this is a good lineup. It's just, I think they've got it wrong, these brands. I think the shampoo needs to give you a much better user experience, and I think it needs to give you a much more noticeable protective experience. Then people are going to be happy, I think. There's always a caveat, isn't there? There's always a get out of jail card for the brands. The get out of jail card could be that you have to be careful over concentrating them, so they're being conservative for that reason. The get out of jail card could be that they're the reason, if you use them kind of more on a standalone, that they're not so prolific is because they're designed to top up the protection. I don't know. Again, I'm trying to just put all that noise out of my head and just use them and give you an impression of what I think. And I'm using them and I'm thinking these are a bit pony. So there you go. It's just an example. I was using this one a few minutes ago. 15 litres of water. Well, I've got the 15 litre marked up. I've used a little bit of it, so it's a bit lower, but I put it down to the sticker line and then I blast it up to the 15 litre line so that, you know, I don't overfill them, I'm under concentrate, but it just gives you an idea, doesn't it? If we look at what I'm talking about, just to give you an idea. Okay, you're probably thinking, well, that's quite foamy, John. It's not really. It's thin. And by the time, I'll just do that in real time, by the time I've got that to the car, it's really popping all its bubbles. They all seem to do this. So I might be able to get some suds on that first wipe. But even now, it's virtually gone. Yeah. Within the next 60 seconds, that would just be a bucket of water, you know, in terms of foam. Yeah, so very disappointed. That's my test panel, and I'm washing that with a different mitt there. That's just some GSF pure shampoo. Going over that, just washing it. It's probably had about 5 washes already. It doesn't matter how many it's had, as long as I get to a point where I can separate them on durability. I'm going to do it slightly differently this time. Rather than soaking them in a really strong alkaline, you know, just leaving it there to degrade them, and that works. I'm just going to wash that panel with a mild shampoo and just keep doing it. It's going to take longer, and it's sitting outside as well. So it is more like what will happen to these products when they're put on a car and they're wiped every now and then with a thing. But the product, obviously, the panel's not being driven around. That's the only difference. But being outside does make a difference. I tell you, that does make a difference. So yeah, it's probably more of a real durability test. I already know which one's going to win the durability test. Possibly one of 2. Okay, guys, let me know your thoughts on ceramic shampoos. This was just a little interim update, and I'll see you soon on the Forensics Detailing channel. Don't forget to subscribe as well, guys, and yeah, you know, all that. Doug.